Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tiksu to UniTartu. Today I'm joined by Kyrylo. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Kyrylo. I'm BBA student. I'm second year. I'm also Ukrainian. I'm doing some entrepreneurial work in Estonia. So I think that's the reason they invited me here.
Well, that's not the only reason, but we do want to hear your story about that. But I just first, how'd you choose Estonia and, how'd you end up here?
So basically, my dream was always to go to United States to study, but then the war came, and then my father spent all of money that was for my education for some volunteering stuff. Mm-hmm. So my family didn't have any money, and then there was long story short, I could not go to US. Mm-hmm. So then I started to look for university, and then I was like, okay, Tartu is the best university in Eastern Europe, so I would like to go there because it's still quite close to Ukraine, so I would not lose a connection.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up in Tartu.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And you're studying business administration, my degree as well. How do you like it studying here?
So let's say I like studying here. Mm-hmm. I'm a bit missing of the subject that would be on some technical topics. Mm-hmm. Because I was studying before, I was studying in Lyceum in Ukraine. So we have like schools and we have lyceums. I don't know if you're familiar with the structure. So I was studying more of the math and physics. So mm-hmm. for me, going from math and physics to business mm-hmm. feels a bit like in these Instagram videos when you have all of these memes, like how the math major is doing their homework. But I like the community itself. And I think it brought a lot of the, not even the soft skills, but like just in general, I feel more comfortable in business area mm-hmm. after this degree. And I have a lot of the network here in Estonia because of it. So I think that it was a good decision to come here.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned that you had some entrepreneurial stuff going on. Do you want to explain that for me? Yeah.
So I'm CEO and I'm co-founder of actually now already 2 companies in Estonia. So what we are doing some military stuff. We're doing fiber optic communication systems for the drones. What it means, you have the drone and it has a couple of ways how you can connect as operator to the drone. You can have the radio. So it means, if you just like some from hobbyists, they fly FPV. FPV means first point view drone, just small drone. You can have the connection via radio, mm-hmm. and you can also have connection via fiber. What it means is that your drone is connected to the wire, and then when you fly, all the connection goes through the wire. Mm. So why it's important? Because it's impossible to jam or spoof or somehow influence the connection if it's wire. And the doctrine in general in Ukraine now that all the wireless connection is jammed, it is countermeasured somehow. So what we're doing is we are providing the solution how you can be fully resistant to any influence from outside. This is the first thing. And the second thing, what we're doing video detectors. What this stuff is if the enemy has radio drone, especially on analog signal, and then it flies close to you, you have the video detector. It is similar to like you have a phone. And what it does is that it shows you on the screen the video that enemy's pilot is seeing. So let's say if you are close to the front line, if you're on the front line and you start to see on this device video of the enemy drone and you see yourself in this device, it means that you are screwed. So you have to take some actions. So this is the most important personal protection in the current modern warfare in Ukraine. And every soldier should have it. So in Europe, I don't think that anybody is now doing such thing. Mm-hmm. So we just started a couple of months ago and we're already having the product. We have some sales, but I cannot speak publicly about that.
But so is that like intercepting the radio waves, basically, of the opposing operator?
Yeah, it intercepts the video link of the operator. Mm-hmm.
And then the fiber optics, that's like a physical like tether to the FPV drone, correct?
Yeah.
Because a little background about myself, I was a radio operator in the military, and I know that radio signals, they're a little bit wonky. They can get jammed. Anything can screw up a radio signal pretty much, depending on how good your equipment is. So how long are those fiber optic connections usually?
So usually what we produce by the need. So let's say some military unit come to us let's say our company who producing the drones, they come to us and say we need like 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 20. So in Ukraine the most popular is now from 15 to 25 kilometers, but in general it is not restricted by like 25 kilometers. So you can do 50, but it does not make sense that much with current version of fiber optic to make 50 kilometers spool. The reason is because there is a lot of problems with current fiber optic spools that we have in Ukraine, that Russia has, that all across the world. The reason is because when this product was developed for the first time in 2024, end of 2023, there was no like big process of development. So nobody took it seriously. Like, look, we need to come up with the best fiber, which we're going to spool on the perfectly designed spool. And that we are going to engineer of how it will unspool when drone is flying. Yeah. So how it was done is that, look, what is the cheapest fiber that exists? Oh, this is telecommunication fiber, the G657A2. Oh, let's take it. Let's spool it on something. Oh, it spools. Wow, let's try if it flies. Oh, it flies. Oh my God. I mean, we developed some tech. So everybody is continuing to do the same. And it has a lot of problems. So let's say in Ukraine, the best version of spools, the efficiency is like 70%. So it means that out of 10 drones, 3 just drops down because of the bad quality. So the reason is because when you're flying, there is a lot of problems with how it unspools. With the fiber itself, there is a lot of problem, and there is such thing as attenuation. So you have the signal, let's call it like you have 100% of the signal, powerness of the signal. And the more you fly, the more there is some problems with the spooling and unspooling. You lose some percentage of the powerness of the signal. And let's say when you're on the 0, you lose the connection. Yeah. So now no company has done properly this spool. And that's why the longer distances you fly, the more chances that you're going to lose the connection. So that's why the 2025 is like, let's say, standard. Yeah. And what we're kind of trying to do now for already a year, let's say 6 months, we are developing, and we are, like, I like to call it fancy name, next generation of the fiber optic systems. So what I mean by it is that properly fiber, which is not going to be just random standard telecommunication fiber, properly designed spool, electronic software, so all of it. And let's say we already started investment round for it. And we're going to ramp it up seriously in summer. Yeah. So in an optimal scenario with your advancements, what do you think is like a realistic estimation of, like, 9 out of 10 drones, or how many drones do you think, like, with proper spooling, proper fiber optic cables, do you think can you actually, keep operational? Yeah. So let's say the target point is like 98%. But what it will allow, if you have the proper spool, you could put not only the cheap drone on the fiber optic, but you could start to put like expensive drone. Let's say, what is expensive drone? ISR drone, like the fixed wing, intelligent drone. Usually they cost like from 5,000, from 10,000. If you take NATO country, they can cost 20,000, 40,000. So when you have now current version, you can, if you fly 10 drones, 3 is going to drop down, you're going to lose like 200,000 euros. Yeah. So you're not putting it on fiber. But if you have reliable fiber optic stuff, you can start to put your expensive gear on the fiber, and you could actually connect all of the unmanned platforms on the fiber. So you have UGV, which means ground robots. You can put all the flying drones on the fiber. You can put sea drone on the fiber, and then you can have the in-army, like this capacity of communication. Let's say that you connect everything with fiber. Yeah. So that's what it will allow. And then the idea, what then you can do is what you have in Europe, what we don't have in Ukraine, is very developed underground fiber optic network. So let's say, even I think in the building we are filming, there is a router, Wi-Fi router, that is connected to the fiber optic. So this is a global network of fiber. And let's say nearly every building in Europe has connection to the global network of fiber. Yeah. So let's say the war starts tomorrow in Estonia or in Europe. We can actually, the pilot can sit in Tallinn, just connects to the global network, and then the drone is somewhere in Narva, and then it just flies, and there is no danger for the pilot. And then we just need somebody to plug the drone on the other side to the global system. Yeah. And then, if you think about this idea further, we can actually put all of our HQs in the Europe, let's say in Estonia, underground. It is connected to all the fibers, and then they can have in real time, with low latency, data from sensors. They can control the drones. And then basically they are fully resistant to electronic warfare. So when the enemy comes, we definitely know that at least fiber is going to work. And then we're going to have like 2 weeks to come up with how to adjust our radio. So this is the biggest idea. Oh yeah, that's great to be able to have your highly trained pilots maybe a little bit back, and have like extradition forces out in different points where you could just kind of plug into a central mainframe. I think that's really cool. I actually hadn't thought about that before you mentioned it. I just want to ask you, like, how'd you get involved with it? I know, the war has been a big part of your life. You
are from Ukraine. You said your dad worked on some volunteer forces. Do you maybe want to tell me how you got into that and why you started the company?
Yeah. So let's say when the war started, it's going to be fun, but when the war started, I was 14. And then it happened on 24, when the full-scale invasion started, 24th of February 2022. So my reaction, even when I was 14, I was like, look, Dad, I want to go fight. He was like, look, just sit down. Like, what do you mean fight? And I was just reading a lot of the books, like about the Spanish War, how the teenagers were fighting, about the First World War, all other stuff. And my father was like, okay, if you want to do something, I'm not going to put you as a soldier to be on the front line when you're 14 and then I became 15. So he has a volunteering fund. So I started to be the head of international relations team, which only consisted of me. So basically what we have been doing is we were raising money for help for soldiers and also for help for civilians. And what I was doing from 2022 is I was engaging with Baltic countries, with French, with Germans. I was trying to find people who are ready to donate some money. I was establishing some connections. And then we basically connected, let's say, here is a need from Ukrainian army. There is our fund. And there is some French company, French guy who wants to donate something. Yeah. So usually it was a money donation, but sometimes it happened that I know one case, there was a French company I found, and they had just on the stock some metal parts. They just didn't need it, but it costed like a couple of hundreds of €1,000s. Yeah. And it was a scrap from their manufacturing. And then one of Ukrainian drone unit, they were in 2024, they needed it. And they were like, look, there is some help, volunteering help. French came, says, do you need this stuff? And I was like, I don't know. So I went, we asked all the units, yes, we need it. Wow, let's connect them. Or, for example, there is my co-founder, Thomas, from my company. He was also helping Ukraine a lot, and we made the connection with him in 2023. So he donated, and he found in Estonia ambulance cars. Okay. So we were basically bringing ambulance from Estonia to Ukraine. So there is some of the crazy projects. And that's how I was involved in the military topic, militech sphere, because if you raise money, you need to understand what military needs, you need to understand current needs. And if you work with international partners, you also have to give them something. So basically when you cooperate, they are curious about what is the situation, what you need, like what are the problems.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you're basically working as a logistics specialist, which is something that's like super important. Like we call it beans, bullets, and bandages is what we said in the military. It's just as important as the people on the front lines as the people doing the stuff behind the scenes.
I mean, I don't have any guts to say that it's as important as somebody staying in the risking their life.
No, it's not. I mean, in terms of the big scope of things, in terms of like waging war, every single person does, play some type of role.
Yeah. No, and that's how I started to be involved in it. Then I started to work a lot with military units. Because, for me, I was curious, and then I had a lot of conversation with Europeans, and everybody is asking, okay, so what is the situation? What is the situation? And you kind of have to be in this topic. And then when I went to Estonia, I went to Estonia in August 2024, and already in August, in summer 2024, and in spring, Russians started to use a lot of fiber optic drones, and we didn't have any. So basically, when I came here, in spring 2024, I started to work with the first company who were developing fiber optic drone in Ukraine. And when I came to Estonia, I was like, look, in Ukraine, we just are starting to develop fiber optic stuff. And I saw how it was done. So I think that European brain capacity, engineering capacity, money could help us build stuff here and then help in Ukraine. And then in February, we got some of the first cooperation contract. And then since March 2025, we have been manufacturing for 1 year these fiber optic systems, and we send more than 4,000 to Ukraine. Wow. So,
yeah. So living in Tartu, studying at the University of Tartu, I know this is like a big startup environment. Has the city or the university kind of given you an environment to, I guess, thrive or, be able to succeed in your company?
Let's say I have some very specific topics, so I was not that much involving university into what I was doing. But I know that there are a lot of guys, my friends from the also BBA, who had some help because, for example, in University of Tartu, we have the CDL, which created distribution lab. I'm also helping them with making some interviews with important people, and I was involved in a lot of different sessions during this year. So they are bringing, basically this year, for example, it was defense. That's why I was involved.
Yeah.
CDL, they bring the companies into this program, and then the companies get mentoring from very, very cool people. So like this is just promoted by university, and all professors are in charge of this program. And there is a couple of other programs, labs. So I think that if you want, it's not a problem to find some startup. Yeah. For example, there was TVIC program. I was also there last year, also university program. Startups come to this program, and they are looking for guys from University of Tartu to have internship there. So it's also cool program where you can have like free internship.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't receive the money, but like you gain some of the experience. So I think that Tartu is doing a lot in this sphere, and if you want to be active, you find it in Tartu.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Could you maybe just tell me a little bit about like how it is for you being such a young entrepreneur and like a CEO at your age?
Let's say, I don't know. I don't consider myself like young morally because, I mean, with all of this stuff from Ukraine, I don't think about the age itself that much, because when you have some kind of meetings, when you work with people, at least European has this culture that you look at what person knows, what is their experience rather than the age. So, I mean, and especially when I work in this sphere, I see that a lot of European, they are completely out of the context of what is happening in Ukraine. Yeah. And then when you come, let's say if there is 40 years old guy and he is very proficient in business, maybe in defense topics, but he just didn't see on his eyes the reality what is happening in Ukraine. And I'm coming to Ukraine frontline like every 2 months, and I don't think that he's gonna like start to say, "Oh, you're young, I'm not gonna listen to you because you have some information, you have some value in the corporation." So that's why I didn't have so many problems of being young in this sphere.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have the experience, you have the knowledge. You're right. It shouldn't be something that matters too much. But I wanted to ask you also specifically about leadership. What has like leadership in a company kind of taught you, you know, in terms of business skills, social skills? Is there anything like in specific you've learned since starting your company?
Let's say I very much like one of the phrases of my engineer. He was like, look, I can find better paid job somewhere. I got better proposition. And he was like, but I want to stay here because it's not that in your life you're going to have a lot of chances to work in the company where like CEO, your boss, basically risk his life because he believes in what you're doing. Yeah. So I don't know. I just believe in what I'm doing, and I hope that people with whom I work, they just feel it. So I think that even if you don't have a lot of the skills, but you actually are passionate about what you're doing and you show it and you're actually involved in it and you are ready to risk everything, then people are going to feel it and they're going to see you as a leader. So there are a lot of the books about how to be a leader. They are very nice, but if there is no core value, I don't think that anything is going to help. The same thing as I very much like the idea that about the public speech. So there is a lot of trainers who are going to teach you how you have to do the public speech, what you have to say, how you have to prepare. But actually, if you are on stage and you have some speech and you don't fully understand what you're going to say and you're not proficient in the topic, no matter what you're going to do, you're going to stress. Yeah. But if you are fully understand what you're going to speak about, then I mean, you're going to stress much less. So that's basically, I think, that applies this kind of bigger idea to the business. If you have the core value and you don't have that much of experience and skills, it's going to come up. But if you don't have the value, but you're super proficient, people are going to feel it.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you think the defense sector kind of differs from, you know, maybe working with like a consumer sector? And how is your company kind of, you know, work around that, I guess?
Yeah. So from the business just perspective, from the economical perspective, it's not the case that like people are going to come and buy. Okay, for some of the products, let's say for video detectors, personal purchases can happen. But usually you work with the government and all of it depends on the tenders, on the procurement, on the if units want your stuff. So it's a bit different. You can have some marketing, but I mean, so you are promoted in this tender, but you mainly work with big contracts and with the government. And if we speak about, let's say, the ongoing war, the second thing, if I sell in the consumer, I don't know, whatever app, I don't know, like glass or whatever I say, sell in
Grebes.
Just whatever.
A widget.
In civilian life. And this is bad quality made, maybe people are going to be dissatisfied. Maybe they're going to write that, or you're bad producer, you have bad quality. But if you're in military topics and you sell something that does not work and it is used in the real life, then the people are going to die because of you.
Yeah.
So there is much more pressure on you, and there is much more responsibility for what you're doing. So if you're doing your work badly, there is clear consequences that people are going to suffer, and not just suffer because they are dissatisfied, but they are going to literally die.
Yeah.
So this is one of the biggest difference. So if you're not ready to come and to to fight with this pressure, you're ready for the pressure, then a lot of people, they just crash when they come to the sector.
Yeah. You mentioned you go to the front lines, and I'm sure you're there speaking with units that are using your product. What is that feedback that they give you? Like, how quickly do you guys implement that, and how does that like work for your company?
Yeah, so the feedback and the cycle of when you receive some of the feedback, when you receive some of the updates and you do some changes, it is very fast, and it is usually happening every day online. So I speak by phone, I chat with a lot of the guys, and they just say, okay, look, the situation changed, because we have to understand that the current war is happening between the second best army in the war, which is Russia, with Ukraine, and we are standing because we are very innovative, but they are also very, very smart. So if we any type of game, any type of let's say we play with you chess. I mean, you lose one time, you lose two times, but you are learning, and then it becomes harder for me, and you come up with some countermeasurements. But when you come up to the war, and then when the other side is dying because of I don't know, your solution, they're gonna counter it and they're gonna adapt to it much better because your life depends on it. And they are very, very smart. There's like 120 million of people there. There are a lot of engineers, and their life is in danger. So they are adapting to your solution very, very fast. So you also have to adapt faster, because it's always in Ukraine about this innovation circle, and you come up with something, it gets countered, you again like adjust something, it gets countered, and it's never ending. I call it like cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
So why I go there personally is because, let's say when you have the feedback that, look, I've been using this stuff, it works like this, there are some problems, okay, it's good to hear, but then your ass is actually there and you feel it on yourself, and it helps a lot when you're building something. So I actually think that heads of European companies and in defense sphere, they also have to go there sometimes and to see what is happening, to feel it. Because if you do some solution for your customer, but you don't know what customer is feeling, what are their needs, in what environment they are staying, I don't think you can come up with good product. That's why I think that it's very important for all the defense companies to actually go and see how the consumers, final customers, are using their products and what is the reality there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hate to move off such an interesting topic, because I could keep talking to you about this for another hour, to be honest. But I want to ask a little bit about your experience in Estonia, and how you operate here as a student, if that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah. So when you first moved to Estonia, did you experience any culture shocks just initially from, being in Ukraine and moving here?
Yeah. I mean, everybody is laughing about it, but I experienced a bit of the shock that people are not that friendly. I mean, they are friendly, but they are not that talkative and extroverts in Ukraine. So, for example, if in Ukraine you go by the street and you see, I don't know, the guy whom you saw one time in your life, and you come say, "What's up? How are you doing?" There is going to be like 1 hour talk about, okay, there is my problems, or there is something. Estonians are not that much speaking, and I love to have this example. In October, the year I just came to Estonia, I was dancing in one of the club, and then then one Estonian girl came to me and says, "Look, are you gay?" And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because you dance." I mean, so what? Estonian guys don't dance like this. And I was like, "What do you mean?" No, Estonian guys dance like very, very...
very subdued, I guess.
Yeah, humble. Either you're gay or you're a foreigner, and I was just thinking that you look like Estonian, so I thought you're gay. I was like, no. So for me, it is a bit like culturally shocking. Yeah, and also Thomas, my co-founder, he was like, look, we have this period in life where we have depression from like October to April, when in Estonia there is no sun, there is nothing, and then you cannot see people outside. So I see it every time happening. Like there is a cycles. Now you get outside, you see a lot of people like doing something because the weather is plus minus nice. But in November, in December, there is nobody. The life just stops. Nobody goes to club anymore.
They're like hibernating.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. I mean, in November, in December, there is just literally nobody. You text somebody from like some of my friends, Estonians, like, hey, let's go hang out somewhere. No, I don't want to. Hey, man, I was like, how do you live like this? So the hardest period for me in Estonia is like November, December. Then it becomes nice.
Yeah. So you mentioned Thomas. He's an Estonian.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a lot of your staff Estonian as well.
Half of the stuff is Estonian.
Okay. I wanted to ask you just like, how do you feel about the Estonian work environment? I know you're the big boss in charge, but like, what do you see when in the workplace with Estonians?
Yeah, what's the difference, for example, with Ukrainian style? And I think that Estonian style is a bit better. So let's say when I have a conversation and I need something from the person, when I work with Estonians, I was like, look, dude, I need like technological specification or whatever. I just have some request. The guy would make the file. We would speak about the file. When I say Ukrainian, look, I need something. Yeah, let's have a call. And I was like, we're going to speak about like technological terms and specification numbers. Why would I have a call with you? Yeah. I mean, just like, let's work on the file. So this is the difference that with Ukrainian, you always like, you speak a lot. Everything is done by talking. With Estonian, it's more of the style of, let's say, let's put things on the table, on the paper. So I combine between those different styles because when I try to combine some of the R&D guys in Ukraine with the R&D guys in Estonia, it always goes through me because with them I speak, with them I write. So they don't work that much of
Which
together.
style do you prefer?
No, I'm Ukrainian, but like I live in Estonia, so I don't know. I feel that I had a course business communication in the university, and in the first semester of my first year, and they were talking a lot about different companies. And then when you go abroad in different country, you have to have representative there to understand the cultural working style, and then your working style. So you need to match it. And I was like, yeah, what do you mean? Like it's just working style. Now I fully understand what it means that if you are, let's say, Estonian company and you want to go to Ukraine to work, you definitely have to have Ukrainians in your company who are going to help you with this. If you're a Ukrainian company, you want to go to Estonia, the same thing, because I mean.
Yeah, you have to branch that cultural divide, not to make anybody feel like super isolated, especially in their communication. Yeah, definitely. So just Tartu in general, like, how do you like the city? What are your favorite things about Tartu?
I mean, it's a cozy city. It is good for studying. I'm a bit now suffering because there are so little people. Yeah. I don't know. I was in New York in November. I went for 2 weeks for some working stuff last year. And then when I returned back to Tartu after New York, I had depression for a couple of weeks. But I mean, it's a very beautiful city, and I like the thing that it is smart city. So I have my dormitory, and from dormitory it's easy to get anywhere by walk in 10 minutes. And yeah, in summer I don't have any complaints about the Tartu. I mean, you have some ongoing life, you have active life, you have places to go hang out. In winter it's a bit harder. In winter I just don't know sometimes what to do. Yeah. But in general, Tartu is a very good place for students who just come and want to have a bit of calmer life, but still with hanging out environment, because you still have some places to do both of it. Yeah,
absolutely. So what's next for you? Where do you see yourself maybe here 2 years, 3 years down the line?
So I have basically 2 paths that I want to do. First one is either continuing the master. I want to continue the master in international relations and security studies. So I'm thinking about a couple of variants. One of it is US. The other one is in Europe. Or to go to Ukraine and to join the military. So it will depend on what is the situation after my third year, because it's still like 1 year left. So I will see and I will decide. Yeah, absolutely.
If you have any advice for somebody coming to the University of Tartu or moving to Estonia, what would you say to them?
Have a lot of vitamin D before the studies, and I don't know. I think this is important to when you come to start to be friends with Estonians, because let's say there is a bit of problem on my course. We have different nationalities. Half of the course is Estonians, and then Estonians just are friends with Estonians.
Yeah.
Let's say Ukrainians are friends with Ukrainians. Some different nationalities are friends with them. So it is a bit hard to make friends with Estonia from my perspective. But I mean, once you are friends, you're kind of involved into the culture. So I would say that since the beginning, you need to be involved, because if you get out of this, let's say, friendship relations in 3 months, when everybody on your course in university are already like divided by some groups, it's going to be hard to be involved.
Yeah, that's the advice I give too. Is you got to really, kind of insert yourself and be a little bit more social, because it's true. When groups of international students come here, they tend to click with their own nationality, and that just happens naturally. So I think like the biggest advice I give to people is like, you just got to go for it.
Yeah, and for example, if you, let's say you're involved into this Estonian group friendship, you can understand much more and have much more much better perspective on the things what is happening in Estonia. Let's say there is laupäev. I didn't know about it even, but then one of my Estonian friends just was like wrote me the day before laupäev. Look, in Tallinn there is laupäev. I was like, what does it even mean? I would not know about it. Yeah, let's go to Tallinn. We went to Tallinn. Wow, it was crazy event. Or there is jaanipäev, for example. I also didn't know about it. So all of these like holidays, all of the some culture topics, for example. I didn't know that the dancing, Estonian national dance, is that good. Yeah, I mean, and if you just hang out in your like close environment of international students, you're not gonna find out more about the country. But every country, I think, is very how we call it. It's very not deep. Has a lot of different cultural aspects that is very interesting. Yeah,
definitely. I think the best way to experience that is get involved with the locals and learn about that. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to me. Very insightful, very interesting. Is there anything else you want to say before we close it off?
No, I think it's good.
No, awesome. Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk. And this has been Tiksu to UniTartu.